Hi guys, Carol here with Desert Wreath Creations. Tonight we're going to be making a lemon wreath using the sign Home Sweet Home that has luscious lemons and greenery with a small buffalo plaid check border going around the outside, which will match our mesh and ribbons perfectly. We're going to be using a 14-inch elevated wreath form that I get from Craft Outlet. It has 3 rings going around it. I put 10 pipe cleaners on the outside, spaced 3.5 inches apart, and 8 on the inside. We're using a 21-inch mesh, and we're going to be doing 10-inch poofs going all the way around it. So what I do is I first tie my mesh on with a zip tie to hold it securely, and then I measure out on my mat for 10 inches. I bring it back and I tie it securely with the pipe cleaners that I've added to the frame. I do this going around and putting a poof in each one of the 10 pipe cleaners going around the outside of the mesh. And then we will, or I'll show you how to put your mesh on the top going around the inside of our wreath form. So we're going to continue going around this, like I said, and what I'll do is I'll be back to show y'all how to make the transition to the top and how to put your poofs going around the top. Now that we've finished putting all of our poofs around the outside of our wreath forms, we're going to gather, we're going to open all of the pipe cleaners on the inside that we have them open and available as we go around and put our poofs on the inside of our wreath. Now that we have all of our pipe cleaners open, we're going to be gathering the mesh in our hand, making sure that the outsides are still rolled over. And we're going to take that mesh and we're going to pull gently to the first available pipe cleaner. We're going to take a zip tie and zip tie that 21-inch mesh down to hold it in place right in front of that zip pipe cleaner, that we're going to use. We're going to bypass that pipe cleaner and we're going to measure out 10 inches, and then we're going to go to the next pipe cleaner. We're going to tie it in securely just like we did going around the outside, and we're going to also go ahead and poof our mesh out. It doesn't have to be poofed out completely. I like to spread mine out some because it's going to gather back up on itself. And we're going to continue to measure out 10-inch poofs and go around the inside of this wreath. And then we'll be right back. Now that we're finished going around the inside of our wreath, and I will let you know that I decided to go around the inside twice. This mesh that we're working with tonight is a little softer mesh than normal, and I like my wreaths to maintain their thickness, so I went around it twice. So what I did is I just gathered it up after the last poof, and I cut it off. Now I'm going to flip the wreath over, or tuck the excess mesh I cut off in between the outer and the inner round wreath form where we did our poofs, and I'm going to take a zip tie, pipe cleaner zip tie. I'm always getting them confused there. And I'm going to tie that excess down to the frame. I'm going to cut the leftover off, and I'm going to trim it up really nice. And then I'm going to twist that to where it's on the inner side so that we don't have any doors scratched. And now I'm just going to be straightening out the poofs and everything to go around to go with it. Then we'll be applying our second layer to this wreath. The layer that we're applying is an ombre mesh. It's a 10-inch mesh, and this mesh, of all things, came from the Dollar Tree. At one time, I could find mesh at the Dollar Tree. It's very rare, but this was a 10-inch. You can see how thin it is, and you hold it up singly. But when it's rolled up, it's got some gorgeous colors like the lemon and a lime and a little bit of black. So I cut this mesh at 30 inches, guys. I cut it at 30 inches. And right here, I'm just folding it under. And I'm going to do a 30-inch ruffle. And I have to put something heavy on it to guide me, because when your mesh is soft and it is thin, it doesn't ruffle as pretty. It wants to go all over the table. So have you something handy. I use a dollar rock I got from the Dollar Tree, or you can use your scissors or cutters or whatever you have available. Then I stick this mesh inside a tie, and I start on the outside, and I put it in there and I tie it down a couple of times, and then I just spread it all the way out and around. And once it's in and it's gathered up, you can see the really pretty colors in this mesh. So, but it does take a full 30 inches to get that nice ruffle and pretty color effect. And I do this all the way around the wreath, placing one ruffle into each one going around it. Then I'll move to the top and I'll place a ruffle, another 30-inch ruffle, in each one on the top. And we'll meet right back. This is our last ruffle we're working on. And then what we'll do is we'll just go through the top of the wreath and sort of spread out the ruffles just a little bit more, tinker with it here and there. You know how we like to have our hands in things. I think it makes the wreath look better, and it makes me feel better. So there we go. I think this combination of colors turned out really pretty. It's nice, it's fluffy, and the combinations of colors, you couldn't ask for anything better. So now that we've got our poofs, and now we've got all of our ruffles in, you're looking at around a 24 to 25 inch wreath. So we're going to start putting our ribbons on. We're going to be using a black lemon pattern ribbon. This is a 1.5 inch ribbon. I love this. The lemons stand out so pretty on that black background. And we're just using a solid, like a lime greenish color along with it. So I place my ribbons together, the length. I fold them in half in order to get the center of the ribbons. Then I scrunch them up the middle, fold them up the middle, and I sort of bend them into bird wings. I go over to the outside ring, and I go ahead and I place that ribbon inside there, and I go ahead and tie it in very secure with the pipe cleaner. I'll take my ribbons and then I will spread them out. And I try to, when I'm doing that, is I'll alternate them. And I'll show you here in a minute what that looks like once I get the other set of ribbons in. And I fold the pipe cleaner back into the middle underneath the mesh after I put the ribbons in. The next set of ribbons we're going to be working with, see how I did the two, the green going down and the lemon ribbon going across to make it look like it's almost got a different colored tail. This is a buffalo checked ribbon and a yellow with a horizontal stripe ribbon. And we'll find our center once again, and then we'll scrunch it up the middle, and then make our bird wings. Go to our next tie because we'll be alternating these sets of ribbons, and I'll tie it in just as securely, and then I will, if it's too long, like here this pipe cleaner's too long, I just cut it off, and then I bend that right back into the middle of the ribbons. I'll use the same technique as I did with the first set of ribbons that went in, and I will smooth one set going one way and the other set going the opposite way. So our buffalo plaid both will come down the center of it, and our lemon ribbons will come out to the side. And here you go is what it's going to look like right there. So we're going to do this all the way around to the outside, and I'll see you when I get through. Now that we've got our last set of ribbons going around, this is what it looks like right here as I show it up and show you how that came out. I love doing my ribbons like this. It's very appealing to the eye, and since we're using two different blacks, it keeps it separated. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to be putting our sign on it. And how I do my sign is, this is a 10-inch sublimated sign that's made of aluminum. And I put the cable mounts on it, and I let it dry. I put the cable mounts on with super glue. I let them dry, and then I run pipe cleaners into each one. And on a round sign like this, I do a one at the top, bottom, and one on each side. I generally try to put it going through the top first. I take what I call a weaving needle, which is a long plastic needle that is used in kids' crafts or used for yarn. I do have these available in Desert Reef Sign Shop on Etsy. It makes it a lot easier to push that, feel with it behind, and push with the needle through the mesh. And I always like to go through to the mesh. It seems like it helps hold the sign up and all. Then I tie that tie around the innermost ring going around the wreath frame. Then I will go to the opposite end, which on this one is going to be the bottom, and I will do the exact same thing. I just put my hand back there and I feel around for it, and then I can take that and pull it right on through. Sometimes you may have to tug it a little bit, which is perfectly fine. And once I get it in, I tie this one also to the innermost ring going around the wreath frame. Sometimes it takes a minute to get it adjusted just to where you need it. And then we'll repeat this process going from side to side, and then we'll have our wreath sign on there securely. I do also go around it and sort of adjust the ruffles because I don't want to pull the sign too deep inside the wreath. I want it to sort of set on top of it, but I also want to have it appear is that those ruffles are framing it in. And it takes just a little bit of time to do that extra, which is fine. Here we go. We got that one in. That one was pretty painless, thank goodness. We'll do a quick tie-in, and we'll go right around and do our very last one. Now that we've got our sign secure on it, I continue to go around and just mess with the ruffles, making sure that they're fine. And this is what it looks like so far with the sign on it, and then our outer ribbons. Now it's time to make a bow. We're going to be using the Easy Bow Maker. I like to use either the Easy Bow Maker or the Easy Bow Stow and Go. They both work just the same. They assist you in helping you make a bow by holding the bow, the ribbons for you. So the first ribbon we're going to use tonight is going to be a yellow 2.5-inch stitched ribbon. You can feel the white stitching when you run your fingers across it. I really love this ribbon. It's one of my favorites. So I'm just ruffling it up the center. I'll place it into the bow maker. Then I'll do a twist really close to those dowels. Putting the tail up, I'm going to come in with our first loop, and it's going to be a 5-inch loop. And I'm going to twist again, and I'm going to move that loop up to the top, opposite that tail. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side with another 5-inch loop, and then I'm going to bring that tail down, trying to make some room there. And I'll bring it down and I'll cut it off. I'm actually leaving the ribbons on because I want to show you a new technique. You've probably seen it before, but if not, um, we'll do it just fine. So I'm making another 6-inch tail, but I'm bringing it down this time. I'm making a 5-inch loop. I'm bringing it down, and I'm going to go to the other side and make another 5-inch loop. Then we'll be bringing that ribbon up to the top, and we're going to go ahead and cut it off to about 6 inches. Now we're going to move on to the lemon ribbon. We're going to place it in between our dowels. We're going to put the first tie going up to the upwards. Then we'll twist our ribbon close to the dowels and place it just a little bit shorter. This will be about a 5.5-inch loop, or 4.5-inch loop, I'm sorry. And then I'll do another one right on the other side opposite it. I just like to keep all of my ribbons straight as I go. I'm going to pull this one on down with the yellow ribbon. They sort of get caught up in one another when you leave them both on the dowel at the same time. So I'm going to bring it on down. I'm going to take and turn my bow maker towards me, lift it up, placing a thumb on the other side. I'm going to take a zip tie, coming up and through the back. And pull that all the way around to the back. I'm just making sure my loops are fluffed. Take a pipe cleaner and place it in the back so I'll have something to tie it to the wreath with, and I'll tighten that zip tie down on all of it. Trim your zip tie, then take your pipe cleaner and twist it together on the back of the bow. We're going to bring our wreath back over and find out where exactly we want to put our ribbon, our bow, and ribbons. So we're going to put it right there up at the top. I'm taking that weaving needle again because it makes it so much easier to go in through the mesh and all. And I'll poke it through the mesh. Feel for it with my hand underneath it. And now I'm tying it to the frame. This, I still like to tie it to the most inner round or rung, whichever you would like to call it, to the frame. And that's the closest one you can get to the sign. I'll straighten this bow up. And we'll trim the streamers in just a minute. So what I'm going to do with the yellow and the black lemon is I am going to smooth these out using my hand underneath them, bringing them together, putting the black on top of the yellow to a certain point, and then I'm going to gather them both up just like I was fixing a ribbon tail. But I don't want it to lay so tight on that mesh on that wreath that it bogs that wreath down. I'm using the same pipe cleaner that was used to tie down the mesh. I'm just pulling it through. I didn't cut these off on the top. And I'm tying it in. Looks like I caught my fingernail on the mesh. One good file and it's good. So there's what that looks like. And now we'll, work on the end of the tail we brought down. We're going to make one more loop, gather it up, find us another pipe cleaner. And if you can't always find another pipe cleaner, what you can do is take a half of a pipe cleaner, bend it in half, twist it, then poke those in through your wreath and tie it to your frame. There's always a way. So now we've got that one in. It's just something a little different than having to put ribbon tails over your whole wreath. Now we're going to cut this off. We're going to take our black and white check ribbon. Measuring out 12 inches or 13 inches there. Gather it up the center. We're using this just like a ribbon tail. Placing it in the same tie so that we can bring some of that black and white buffalo up to the top. Now we're going to start working on the opposite side by bringing in our lemon ribbon and our yellow stitched ribbon. We'll come down just a little bit and gather it all, about 6 inches. We're going to come up here to the top, find us another one of those ties that we didn't get rid of. And tie it in. Gathering our ribbons back in our hands again with the lemon on top of the yellow. We're going to come out to the side and we're going to make us another roller coaster, making sure we don't get it too tight so we don't press down on our mess. Cutting us another tail of the black and white. And tying them all in at one time this time into one of the pipe cleaners that we left, and spreading out our ribbons, and then we will cut off our lemon and yellow ribbons. Once we make one more roller coaster. And that's what you'll see with the roller coasters already into the wreath. Here we're going to take some of the green ribbon that we used and some of the yellow and white horizontal. We're going to cut us a set of tails. Dovetail them. Fold it in the center. scrunch it up. And I'm just adding a set of tails right there at the bottom to bring those two colors to the top. And that also helps fill in that void. We're going to go around and dovetail the ribbons that we, on the bow that we made, and the ones that we didn't do on the cuts of the roller coasters. To give it its finishing touches. Making sure I've caught all of them. And that's what it looks like so far. Now we're going to place some lemons into our wreath. What I've done here to get my, is I poked a hole in the side of a lemon with an ice pick. I put hot glue from my glue gun on there, and then I stuck a pipe cleaner, folded the tip of a pipe cleaner over, and stuck the pipe cleaner in it, and let it set till it dried. And then I just bring them through and bring them in with the weaving needle to put them into the wreath. This way you can place them just about anywhere you want to on the wreath. They're going to be nice and secure, and they'll sit right up top. We're going to add several of these throughout the wreath. They're real easy to add, and this is a way that you can add any kind of embellishment you want to your wreath and make it look custom. It also helps hide any ugliness or the pipe cleaners you use to tie your mesh on, your ribbons on. And keeps it nice and tidy looking. We're also going to be putting some daisies. And on the daisies, what we're going to do is add a piece of greenery with them. And I take the daisy and the greenery and I tie it together. They're both wired. Cleaning up the bottom after I tied it. I'll add a little bit of hot glue to it. And I'll just stick it right there on top of that pipe cleaner. That way it gives it something really nice and sturdy to hang on to. I save all of my little pieces to things that I've used just for this purpose. It lets me be able to use those little things to make something look a lot better. Just a little piece of greenery and a piece of the flower. Taking my weaving needle again for another lemon. And I'm going to put it over close to the bow to where that I can pull it into the center. And see how well I can turn that lemon since it's on the pipe cleaner. Just straightening my bow back out. So another piece of greenery and some daisies. I'm sort of testing to see if I want that in there or not. And there you go, my friends. There is our lemon wreath.